to give a solidarity message is from the African Bar Association. Shall we?
Your Excellencies, Right Honorable Speakers, Deputy Speakers, Members of Parliament, and the civil society, I'm Augustine Richard Kaketo. I convene the Family Law Committee of the African Bar Association. It is not for the drinking, it is the lawyers' gathering. And it was founded in 1971, generally to convene individual lawyers and bar associations at various country level. We engage in litigation, advisory for legislation, and programming. The African Bar Association has been associated with these conferences from the very beginning, partly because the African Bar Association raised the first flag when the African, Caribbean, and Pacific states were negotiating the now Samoa Agreement, then the post-Cotonou Agreement. Realizing that this trade agreement had infused into itself a category of human rights that was going to be antithetical to African culture and progress. We raised the matter again in our conference, first in Niamey, 2021 in Niger, and we discussed the matter again in 2022 in Malawi. That's when a decision was made on realizing that members of parliament, the representatives of the peoples of Africa, were not well represented or even listened to during the negotiations of the now Samoa Agreement. We decided that we will instigate the convergence of members of parliament and speakers who would be open to listening to this side of events. You are aware that this conference and the African Charter that we are about to adopt has suffered a lot of attack, first on the individuals involved, then onto the conference itself, and the Charter has been one of the most discussed documents. I would like to invite you to affirm yourselves that the pressures and resistance to this Charter actually justify the Charter. It is the reason we need this Charter. It is the reason we must adopt it. The adversaries and opponents of the Charter rely on a reinterpretation of the international human rights instruments. Sexual and reproductive health and rights are not existent in any core international human rights instrument. I would like to be challenged on that. They are all a product of conferences, programming from UNFPA, WHO, etc. For some reason, these rights that are called pseudo-rights have made their way into the foreign policy of the European Union. So it is now part of the European Union foreign policy to promote sexual and reproductive health and rights. But when you ask a promoter of sexual and reproductive health and rights for all what these rights look like for a 10-year-old, they can't explain. What do sexual rights look like for a 10-year-old? Do we know? So this problem has to be dealt with by the creation of an African regional international law, which will then guide our parliaments and our litigators in reinterpreting the documents we have. So I'd like to commend you all for supporting the Charter, and the African Bar Association, in particular the Family Law Committee, is excited to continue associating with this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. He's done it right under 2 minutes. And so the next